And all of a sudden, we're live again.
Nice.
So, another Miniature Modelling Mayhem live painting chat, joined by a motley crew. And we're currently discussing the joys of Saga and free Saga-esque rules.
I wasn't.
Because I doubt very much that Gary's paid any money for the rules that he's talking about.
I certainly did not.
There we go.
Bring them up again.
No.
Oh,
It's an established rule set. It's been around for a good few years. Called Britan Walder. So named after the Brett Walders of the Heptarchy, Dave, as you well know.
well, I do. Yes, indeed.
Just comes on and starts making shit up.
I've got to go with what the group is playing, so because Saga is the thing, I'll show
Yeah.
off what I've been doing this week. Stand by. Now that we're... So last week I was assembling these fine lads. Now that it'll actually show properly. And let me just move my water here. So these are Footsore miniatures. They're not... it's a company called Footsore. They're not Gripping Beast.
Right.
Packs of 4 for $10 US, which is way better than Gripping Beast, and the actual sculpts were way better. But I mean, they're Scotsmen with spear and shield. One blister pack was of them advancing, which is these 4 guys right there, and then these.
Yeah.
They're not really at rest, but these actual spears are the metal hardcore spears that a lot of people use for pike and shot. But he was giving them away for free. So we met the sculptor at Cold Wars. He's a real nice guy from England. So, well, he had a British accent. I don't know if he's shipping out of there, but the sculpts are better. They're cheaper, and he does sculpt for Saga. So he does have 4.6 point armies, but for just the factions he likes. So that's what I've been doing this week. But now, after all the shame of the past month of my Bodners being on the painting queue, now I'm actually painting them for once. So that's what I've been up to.
Mm-hmm.
You're teasing Stig with your 28L ancient stuff.
You are as well. Especially the Footsore stuff. So that's what I do as well. I'm after the late Romans and things.
This I got for the Footsore models. I mean, we're going to use these for Frostgrave as well. So I'm just going to hold up the 4 Dark Age Christian. There's 2 Warrior Priests and 2 Acolytes. So this guy here, Warrior Priest, altar boy looking dude, guy holding a cross, and then another Warrior Priest with chainmail and a blunt weapon. So I've already been told that this guy here shouldn't be a bladed weapon, but I'll just paint this. You know what? I might cut this off and make this some sort of icon or something. But so for Frostgrave, these will be my because I think you need wizards or whatever in that game. So I'll use my and I'm also using Macaula's Devastators, these claymores, as a Hearthguard. So those I haven't painted up yet. I still might not use them as that, but that's my plan. And then for the actual Saga, I've got these are the Footsore miniatures. Again, sorry for the brightness, but actually I could probably kill the glare if I do this. No, that's showing up horribly.
Yeah, they're nice figures.
Let's try. Oh yeah, they're very, very nice. They're better than Gripping Beast by a long shot, and arguably cheaper. So.
Yeah, the cheaper.
And on his website, he shows, just real quick before I forget, because I did forget this last time, is on his website, it does say the spears and the pikes and everything are separate, but pretty much he said if you order online or if you order these, I'll just pitch them in for free. So if you do get some, just ask and say, hey, is there any chance I could get these in there?
Yeah, I'm tempted. Very tempted.
I'm surprised they even do priests with swords, to be honest. Very surprised.
I'm sure some priests did use swords.
Yeah, but they weren't meant to after about 970 or something when the Pope made the decree.
To be fair, that weapon that guy is carrying, it's really, really thick and very, very squared off. Like it looks like a wooden practice sword to me.
Right.
So I might make it like painted like a ceremonial or a something. Like he wouldn't actually ever wield it. He's just holding it up to, I don't know, for inspiration. Who the hell knows?
Maybe it's just an iron bar made to look like a sword.
Well, I mean, I can always convert it into anything I want, really. It could be holding
Yeah.
up, a bag of potatoes.
Well, if you look at the Bayeux tapestry, Odo, who was Bishop of Bayeux, here we go. Come
Wild
on.
tapestry stuff. Like
Yeah,
next thing you'll be arguing about whether they had crossbows or not, or used bows.
Well,
Sorry.
but yeah,
He wasn't
Odo
there
is.
that day.
No, I wasn't there that day. But Odo is carrying a mace in the Bayeux tapestry, and he's. It does say in Latin, Odo hic est.
I just thought that meant he was drunk.
No, that would have been hic hic.
What are you up to, Dave? Sitting quietly.
Pretty quietly, yeah.
In his man cave. The new man cave.
I am making bits for the new man cave.
I like
We'll
your
see.
display cases in the back, though. Those are pretty sweet.
So that's just, this stuff's just gone up today, which is the bookshelves across the back, then the display cases, which I'm starting to get some figures back out for. But this little area at the back here, where I've currently got a bunch of telephones charging, it's going to be the airbrush area. And I'm actually making a custom splashback. So type of thing you get in the kitchen.
Yeah.
With glass, sort of 4mm, 5mm, 6mm thick glass. It's 1.6 meters long and just 35 centimeters high. Just going to cover that area below the display cases and right along behind there, because that's going to be a messy area. But what I'm doing is I'm doing a custom one, so it's all printed with my images. So I'm going through my blog and my photographs of my soldiers, and I'm going to make a complete collage of it, and then have that made into a proper glass splashback. And so I'm just playing with Photoshop at the moment. Hence the look of concentration.
That's cool.
The new man cave is coming along nicely. The painting end is
or upper story one.
Yeah. So getting there.
Is it a basement or upper story one?
It's up on the first floor. So I've got a room that is 25 foot long. So it's
when are we all coming around for a game, Dave?
so it's going to be middle of the year. The work end is done, which is the other end of this room. And I've got the middle section. So I've spent today doing the other two rooms that I've had to hand back to get this one. So doing prep work on that. I'm getting sorting out the electric work, the lighting, the decor, and stuff. All the infrastructure works before Mrs. D takes over with the furniture and stuff. So I should have that all laid in and sorted out by end of May, which should start to free this room back up to put a game table in it.
Awesome. So how big is the table going to be?
I'm probably going to keep it at a standard 8 foot by 4 or 8 foot by 5.
All right, that's plenty, isn't it? Yeah.
But it's plenty. I mean, I can do it up to 12, I think.
Right.
So, but in terms of keeping it set permanently, Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to build it on some kitchen unit carcasses, with some wheels on, and then I can just move it to one side of the room or the other, and that'll then give me storage underneath it.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah. So that's the middle. But we should get some games come in the middle of the summer, and then it's a permanent table as well. So.
Brilliant. Yeah. Sounds good.
Only 20 years in the making.
Isn't, yeah, exactly. Tell me about it.
I was out in my garage the other day getting it all, or starting to get things tidied up. It's going to be my project as well, to get all the rubbish out of it.
Yeah. Same with mine. I was in mine earlier on today, and the garage door fell off again, so it took me an hour to get it back on. It's my pain in the ass, so I'm just gonna have to leave it until I get it fixed.
Just super glue it.
Super glue it, yeah. In fact,
Super glue
I've
it.
got some green string somewhere and some masking tape and stuff.
Just duct tape and bungee cord it.
Yeah, sorted.
Yeah.
I've got some activator if you need it.
Yeah.
And a bit of green stuff. And some blue tack.
At worst case scenario, you could always pin it.
You just do what I did today. I just stand there and swear at it. Eventually, it'll sort itself out.
That's my usual go-to solution when things aren't
That
working.
might work in Yorkshire.
In London, you have to pay someone to come and swear at it.
Yes, the young Polish chappie from the village.
No. For my sons, I have mainly been building houses. The last house is now built, and I'm moved on to walls.
That the houses that we can blow up.
Yeah.
I was going to say, oh, the stories you must have. So exciting.
No,
But then you're going to need some blown up buildings.
I've got like a couple of like mostly blown up buildings.
Yeah, I think, yeah, don't they, and aren't there somewhere the wall sections are actually curved and they fit to be not damaged, but when you pull the roofs off, they are damaged. I've seen those before too.
I've seen paper versions of that, but I've never seen MDF ones.
No, at Cold Wars, somebody was selling a whole bunch of the MDF ones exactly like that.
All right, cool. Never seen them.
If I had space, I probably would have grabbed them, but since I don't, I didn't.
This is all just like 50mm wall sections, because it's Normandy, so the more linear terrain you have, the better.
Mm-hmm. So that your 21st Panzer opponents like me can get killed in one game.
Can hide.
Yeah, I had a guy at a tournament once. It was at Historicon, actually, way ages ago. He was complaining. He goes, oh, yeah, this table setup really, really favored my opponent. He's telling his buddy. I'm like, dude, I'm playing 21st Panzer, and it's a Normandy table. Like, what do you want? Like, I'm sorry? I guess is all I wanted to say.
Yeah. I've been doing a couple of different things. I got this stuff a while ago. It's like laser cut MDF entrenchments.
Yeah.
Right.
So I got them on.
And do you make a custom base for it and then do the filler, or is the whole thing is supposed to be like that? Right?
The base comes with it. I just did the filler. I've got more work to do on it, obviously, but not bad.
What are you going to use those for?
I have absolutely no idea.
You know what? I've got. You know what? I've got something very similar. I'll show you. This is what's great about the camera.
It'll just be trench sections if I have any.
Well,
for.
So I did
Well,
these as a display. I gotta adjust the camera. I don't know if you can see it. So yes,
Yeah.
that's a spare Italian tank. But
Mhm.
if you see the
it's
edge
in
on,
reverse.
yeah, no, it's in a state of disrepair, which is how they're supposed to be.
Oh.
So all this is plastic card underneath.
Mm.
Oops! Before I spill my yellow paint, I'm just gonna move it. Yeah, unfortunately, my webcam has a small field of view. So this is the, I think it's the right size to be for trench works. For if I was doing fortified companies, which of course in version 4 there aren't any, which sucks. But all this stuff is let's get the wood. So it's balsa. And it was in rectangle, so I've just split it down the middle. So you just hold the balsa up like this and just run the knife down and split it in half.
Mhm.
Then, so that forms the triangle sections here. Obviously, there's filler and stuff on top of it. And then for my wood stuff, it's more balsa from the railroad place. I think it's 30 millimeter by 30 millimeter. Super brittle, but once you've got it on there, it looks fantastic. And then this is just, you know, those wooden stir sticks that you get for coffee. I don't know if you guys have that, but we sure.
Oh, I'm aware of those. Yes.
Yeah, so I just grabbed some from work and boom. So I've got 3 sections of these. I made a section where there's like a connector, like for a communications trench, and I had these fit inside my display tray for the my army for Canadian nationals. So similar to your trench works in but I had to build everything, so it was kind of a pain.
Yeah, I'm surrounded here by 500 coffee stirrers by the looks of it, because I keep getting them at work as well. So if it's one thing I'm not short of, it's coffee stirrers. And yes, they do have a hell of a lot of uses.
Drink all that coffee.
I don't drink any of the bloody coffee.
I was about to say, I'm surprised that anyone in England has coffee. Should be tea or nothing but, right?
When vodka.
Well, we can't do that.
Cheap.
Well, we have. It's probably an English tradition you're probably unaware of. It's called breakfast vodka.
I wasn't aware of that.
And
the hair of the dog.
Yeah, at Christmas as well. If we can't get brandy butter, we get vodka margarine, which is just as good.
Your original Freudian slip was more accurate there, Gary.
I think so. Yeah.
The vodka brandy, that's the one.
Yeah. Guess what, Richie? It's even better.
Hooray, yellow colors and turnbacks.
Same fortifications you were just holding up yourself, James. They're 16th and 17th century.
No, I just made them the other day.
Or sorry, 17th and 18th century, rather. That's Vauban stuff. And there's a place in Holland called Naarden, which is surrounded by them. All these little diamond-shaped fortifications. So it's from the age of cannon, where the cannon shot would just bounce over them. Whereas before they used to just batter the castle walls down. So Vauban was the bloke who changed the architecture of defences.
Yeah, one of the local forts from the War of 1812 is designed with that. So you must just take a good idea, copy it.
Even Alnwick Castle, I went to a couple of summers ago, has got them as well. And that's a medieval castle with what was at the time modern fortifications around it.
Remember, did I paint the turnbacks?
I'm having one of those circumstances where these instructions don't work.
No?
No. It's happened a few times when I've been painting this, building these, unfortunately. You get to a point and it's just like, yeah, the bit that it tells you to plug into the other bit, it doesn't fit the bit that it's telling you to do. So,
Yeah, you're really not filling me with confidence for the buildings I have to assemble.
generally they're okay. It's just some of them really aren't, and this appears to be. I can't figure out what combination of pieces I'm supposed to be using.
Or maybe a tab broke off, and so it looks like you're supposed to plug it in and it's not there, maybe?
Yeah, well, it's like the bits seem to be pretty clear as to where they're going, but the tabs don't fit the tabs on the bits. So,
So who knows, really?
yeah. Let me have a.
I'm gonna have to bounce for like 5 minutes. You're coming up. I've got a guy coming to pick up wooden MDF bases. I know it's exciting. Wooden MDF bases.
Living the dream.
Well, he ordered them actually from, I think it's from the UK, so I'm going to blame you, UK guys. So he made an order. He got all the models from a friend of mine. I just didn't have the bases. So he's like all excited. So he's been starting to, he's been painting his guys like what I've got here, these little 4 at a time. So apparently he's got like almost 2 units fully ready to go. He ordered the bases. The guy had sent it either to the wrong address or something, so he had to send them again. So he's like, oh, I won't be able to get my guys assembled for Friday. And I'm like, well, I've got spare bases for my English Civil War guys, so just pay, give me bases back when they come in, when his order comes in. So he lives close by, so he's just gonna come to my place after work. But I have to run downstairs, so I'll be gone 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good because I'm sick of painting this yellow already, and I'm only 2 models in. I just never would have thought that teal and yellow would go well together, but it kind of does.
Right, I figured it out. On every other base, the dark brown section is the upper surface, but for some reason on this part it's the uncoloured section is the upper.
Oh, so when they lasered it, that
They've
one
done it the
piece
wrong
had
way
flipped
around.
upside down.
Yeah. Because the bits don't go together unless it's that way around. Generally
Well, cut the
speaking,
tabs and just glue it straight on, I guess.
yeah. Generally speaking, I'm going to end up flocking it and stuff, like putting static grass on them anyway, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. But
I had an issue a bunch of years ago when, if you guys recall, when Battlefront did the first T-55s for the Vietnam guys.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So T-55s came out for the Vietnam Tour of Duty game, and WWPD had got a set of them to paint and review, and they'd asked me, they're like, well, we know you're doing moderns, do you mind? I'm like, hey, no problem. So they send it down, and by the time it got to me in Canada, because they're in Virginia, I had less than a week to build and paint them for when it was supposed to, the article was supposed to go up. And I had 5 left-hand tracks and 1 right-hand track and 4 more left-hand tracks. So I'm like, so the initial pictures, they're all facing the same direction. I blue tacked the wrong ones on the other side just so they stand up for the actual article while Battlefront was mailing me the new ones. So I was like, and that one there is like the drive sprockets on one side and you can't fake it. So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, I had a similar experience with them where I got a Sherman that had like 2 left tracks, so I had mailed them, and within a couple of days a package arrived for me containing another left-hand track. I mailed them back and really apologetic. Within a couple of days another track arrived, but it was for the American version rather than the British version of the Sherman, so it didn't quite fit.
Of course it didn't.
So I mailed them again with pictures of all these, like, because I started to feel like they wouldn't believe me, like I was trying to assemble a tank.
You're trying to smuggle one in piece by piece.
Like Douglas Bader trying to escape from the prisoner of war camp. I got a blister with a brand new unopened pack in it and the correct right-hand track. So
nice. We had a guy. Remember when Vietnam kind of went down a little bit before Team Yankee, and they had the really good sales. So Maddie from our club bought an American Army, air cav, the whole 9 yards. They didn't send it, so he was like, "Well, what gives?" So it's like, "Okay, well, we'll send you a second order." Okay, so he gets an order in the mail. Oh, thanks, guys, that's great. Then he gets a second order in the mail, like the full army again, and then he got a third one. So he says, "Well, I'm willing to send you guys this back. I mean, you guys pay for shipping." You know what they told him? Nah, keep it. So a whole bunch of our guys that were hemming and hawing about doing Team Yankee, it's like, well, cheap M113s, cheap M109s, and all this. Anywho, I will. My buddy should be here any minute, so I'll just run downstairs. I'll be back in a flash. I'll just put my mic on mute.
okay. I'm not entirely sure. I've never really had any issues with other manufacturers, how other manufacturers deal with ordering issues and stuff.
Well, I did order some stuff from Minifigs once, and it was meant to be English Civil War stuff, and I ended up with Marlburian figures, which were very nice, but no good to me whatsoever.
And did they fix it?
I suppose it happens. Yeah, I melted them down.
All right, okay.
turned them into French Imperial Guard.
But Minifigs themselves didn't sort it, or
I couldn't be bothered to get in touch with them.
I think that's. I'm always happy to complain. Battlefront nearly got an email off of me because that Battlefield in a Box stuff that I had bought was short on packets of flock. Said it came with 2 packets of flock in the box. It only had 1 in it. Unacceptable.
Unacceptable. Outrageous.
But in the end, I knew how piteously people would look at me. So I could just imagine Steve's withering glance.
Harumph.
Struggling with this camera.
Didn't get a rump out of that guy.
Don't moan about the cavalry, Steve. I've still got to paint it.
Cavalry?
I thought you said you were painting cavalry.
Well, they're dismounted cavalry then.
Yeah, so don't harumph about it because I've still got to do it.
Harumph.
Don't lower my morale before the engagement begins.
And changing the subject back again, James, another place where you'll find those Vauban fortifications is Berwick, which is in driving distance of where you are. So if you want to see them in real life, Berwick.
Yes, you have to go through Newcastle.
You do. Well, you can go around it. There's bloody bypasses and all sorts of things around it. But yeah, Berwick is the last place I remember I had them. And also Carisbrooke down on the Isle of Wight as well. There's a few around.
I'm quite happy saying that at 15mm scale they look small
Right.
enough to be hoardings for a German trench somewhere in Normandy, probably.
Mhm.
I don't really have any use for them. I just saw them and thought, for what I paid, I think it was like £4 for the pack, and it's a meter's worth that you get.
Yeah. Well, I'm just, broadening the subject, James. Saying that's where they come from. That was the initial idea.
Yeah, but yeah, okay.
Right.
I was going to say the fact that they're actually on, like they have the sloped thing is purely because I decided to try and make them merge in with the table a bit more rather than. So I wasn't entirely sure whether the detail stuff was supposed to go in the middle of the base or at the edge, so I did it at the edge.
It's quite similar to the First World War fortifications where they had the dogtooth trench system, didn't they?
Yeah.
Where you couldn't enfilade the defenders.
Well, that was as much to do with shell bursts and shrapnel and stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so technology changes the way that you fortify a defensive position.
It also changes the way that you attack one.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, if you look at castles, they started off with square or rectangular turrets, and then they turned them to be round ones so they couldn't dig in with their picks and undermine them as easily.
I thought the roundness was to do with like catapult stones bouncing off or
Yeah, that as well.
being deflected.
Yeah, because the corner is a weak point if you can start throwing something very heavy at it.
Well, not just that, the whole trying to throw something at a flat surface as opposed to throwing something at a curved surface. The curve will cause it to deflect and
Yeah, and you get the same with armor as well then.
yeah.
Where jousting armor changed over the years. So what started off as just a sheet of thick metal then if you look at Henry VIII's armor, which was Italian, which is in the Tower of London, it's got all these what you call ferrules on it. It's not a flat surface. There's loads of indents in it in straight lines to take any lance coming towards it to just run down that ferrule and move off the armor.
Yeah.
Rather than presenting a flat surface that you just punch through.
I know that
And the Italians were well ahead of the game on that one.
when I was in Stirling in October at Stirling Castle, the entryway to the castle has got two circular towers around about the gate, and you can actually see where the cannonball impacts have hit from when it was attacked during the English Civil War. I think Cromwell was there.
It's always Cromwell, yeah. It's always the cannons were fired by Cromwell. But they started moving the barbicans as well, because the barbican used to just be a straight way into the gatehouse, which is great if you're just firing arrows. But as soon as cannons come into this equation, they bent the entrance so that you couldn't just fire straight at the gate.
Yeah.
It
Again,
would
it's like,
it would hit the wall.
it's like that at Stirling. You've got like I wouldn't say it's a moat. It's more like a ditch.
Yeah.
The castle itself is built on a rock promontory.
Yeah.
And there's like a ditch that's got enflading cannon embrasures and stuff firing across the ditch, and then you get through like over a wall and through the kind of gate area, and then you find yourself in a courtyard, and you have to actually hang like a right to go through another set of fortifications to get to the castle gate. But while you're in that courtyard, you've got cannon embrasures just facing you from like 3 different directions. It's just a trap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's they have things like murder holes as well, where they pour down the boiling oil and hot water to do as much damage as possible.
That castle's got some interesting French artillery fortifications and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the King of France had sent some of his artillery experts over to help, because it used to be the seat of the Scottish throne.
Yeah.
So they sent artillery specialists over to help fortify, bring the defences up to date. You been to that castle, Steve?
I have, yeah, a couple of times. Yeah. It's pretty formidable, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was standing on the outside thinking, if I was attacking this,
Yeah. How the fuck would you do it?
Yeah. Just. Yeah.
And that's the first rude word on the live chat.
Well, if you stand outside that castle and think about it from the perspective of being the poor bloody infantryman that had to try and get inside, you would think.
Yeah.
The F words comes immediately to mind.
Yeah. More like, fuck that. Let's just sit here and starve them out.
Yep.
Yeah, well, Edward I brought his siege engines with him, didn't he? He had a massive, not catapult or ballista, it was a onager he had, and he had a trebuchet, a very big trebuchet.
Warlord or something like that, or
yeah, and the guys used to just sit down there eating their bread and cheese and drinking their beer and wait for the trebuchet to do the damage.
Now that castle surrendered after the what was the one I went to? It wasn't Stirling Bridge, Bannockburn, the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Is they had an agreement with the besieging Scots that if they weren't relieved by a certain date that they would surrender, and that the men would be spared and stuff. So that's kind of why the battle occurred, because the English army was going to try and relieve the siege. But after everything went kind of Pete Tong for the English army, Edward actually got to the castle and got to the castle gates and said, let me in. And the commander went, no, I need to surrender the castle.
Right, I'll be back in a minute. Oh, just put this on mute.
Even just climbing up the hill from the town is...
Yeah. You've got a weapon in your hand as well, and then you've got, wearing armour probably, carrying a ladder maybe.
Yeah, and I think some of those buildings as you come up would have been fortified, because there's still the city walls there as well, isn't there?
Mm.
Edinburgh Castle's similar.
Yeah, they are very similar. I like Edinburgh as well. It's nice castle.
So I was on a trip around Edinburgh Castle, a guided one time. Unfortunately, we were with a group of international tourists, and one of them turned to the guide and said, "Isn't it amazing they built this castle so close to the railway station?"
Yeah.
No, but was he considerably?
Was that guy American?
No comment.
I'm back, but that sounds like something an American would say.
Given that when you're in Edinburgh, the castle stands head and shoulders above every other bloody thing in the city.
Yeah.
The number of tourists who you'll hear saying, "Where's the castle?"
It doesn't actually technically look much like a castle, does it?
Well,
It hasn't. Your traditional view of turrets and battlements and stuff, you know.
Just sat on top of a big bloody extinct volcano in the centre of the city, isn't it?
Yeah.
Massive.
Should come here. There's no castles.
got 4,000-year-old villages, though, have you not? Seen articles about that recently, that they had discovered a 4,000-year-old village in Canada.
Maybe like a piece of smashed pottery, but that's about it.
Yeah.
In Newfoundland, there's where all the Vikings end up landing. Leif Erikson days, but
I need to mention Vikings when Gary's back. It's one of his pet subjects.
shoot.
I think every wargamer should have some Vikings somewhere.
I don't. I've got angry Scottish people.
Yeah.
My
Better
Saga.
than Vikings.
Gotta have some Vikings somewhere looking about.
No, not me. I don't have any.
I don't have any either. I'll maybe do some free Norwegians at some point. Does that count?
Free Norwegians.
Paint some space wolves. There you go. They'll count.
Space.
Angry Vikings in space.
Yes.
And then when there were squats, that was angry space biker dwarves, midgets in space.
Yeah. I always thought the background for them was kind of interesting, but they were more or less gone by the time I started in Epic and 40k.
What's that? Squats.
Yeah.
I did converted squad army back when I worked for the big G-Dub. Way back.
Still like
There are, I know they say about them coming back and stuff, but there are little bits and pieces scattered around the fluff and the lore about them, isn't there? Because I've got
in Battlefleet Gothic, there's 3 squat ships from Forge World.
the Demiurgs, isn't it?
Yeah, the Demiurge. And then there's one year the White Dwarf model was basically a squat. He had a backpack and everything.
Yeah. Well, I've got all the 40k roleplay books, and there's one about the Forge Worlds and the Calixis sector.
That's right. Yeah.
And they talk about an indigenous population of short humans who are very strong and technically
high
adept.
gravity.
Yeah.
That's just the authors thumbing their nose at GW.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that back then. Yay, rifles, painting. It's a thrill a minute, I know.
Could be worse. You could be assembling walls.
It could always be worse.
You could be painting American 10mm American Civil War Union troops. They're all exactly the same.
Paint some of them as if they're dwarfs.
Yeah,
Zom-
I just paint them
zombies.
red.
I just know that when I'm done with this unit of Bodners, somebody will unearth somebody's, diary from somebody's attic somewhere, and it'll say, "Oh no, they were really painted like this." I'm like, "Oh, I just sent the pictures. I'll have to repaint them." Because there's almost no info on these guys.
Who are they?
I'm doing Bodners, which are Confederation of the Rhine, allied to the French for the Peninsular War. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just a Grand Duchy, but back then it was fairly large.
Mm-hmm.
Basically Stuttgart, Karlsruhe, all those places.
Yeah.
But since I used to live in Baden way back, I figured, well, if I can do any unit from Confederation of the Rhine, it may as well be these guys.
Yeah.
And then you can't find any models of them, so
Yeah.
that's why they've got these weird they're very close to Bavarians. If you look at their, I think it's called.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm actually going to be doing Badners as well for 6mm though, and I was going to use Bavarian figures.
Yeah. Oh, so when you go to research it, because I did extensive research on what color the cannons were.
Right.
So they were a blue like this. And then they were later, replaced with French guns. But the color for this, if you can get it where you live, Army Painter, again, way too bright, but electric blue,
Right,
Army Painter, is the gun color for Bodners. So there you go.
Cool.
Many Bothans died to bring us this information. It's weird though, much like anything else, when you see pictures of actual Napoleonic cannon and all this, and the carriages and the limbers and all that, they look really, really boring, and they look bad compared to, because modelers have, done such a great job painting them to look excellent. Then when you see like the real thing, because when I was researching it, I was like, so many cannons were just painted the French green.
Yeah.
Let's look at my test models and see what I'm missing here. Nothing. Good. It's a lot of horses, Gary.
Yep. Yeah, there's 17 horses and only 16 men. Because I dropped one of the guys.
Mathematician.
I dropped one of the guys on the floor the other day, and I still haven't found him. So I've got to pull this man cave apart to find him.
Yeah, it's too bad they weren't magnetic, so you could just run a magnet, drag sweep.
Oh, he's down here somewhere.
I found the best way of finding them when you've dropped them like that is to walk about in bare feet with your eyes closed.
Yep, guaranteed.
That generally works. I'm following up my building of walls with building more walls. Yes.
Well, at least they can't ever say, "Oh, these walls were different." And
these ones are unrendered.
I also have to paint them.
No, they're coloured. They're just the rendered walls have got like a plaster on them, whereas these ones are just rough stone.
Gotcha.
You don't get the same interesting shapes that you get with the other one.
Will they connect though? Like they're not going to look dissimilar when you're next to each other? Or are you just going to have the ones in one yard be one kind and so on?
Yeah. just yeah.
Just bits of hedge and stuff in between them.
Yeah.
Half a job, James.
That's me. Excuse me, guys.
You should change the name of this to It's Like Watching Paint Dry. I'll suggest it when he comes back.
Well, that all depends whether Gary's going to do as a little evening's entertainment.
I do have a
I
Ronnie
haven't seen
Corbett
Ed
joke.
Sargent.
In the style of Ronnie Corbett.
I do have a Ronnie Corbett joke.
I feared you might.
Yeah. But I usually do that at the denouement.
Yeah. Well, indeed, it would be a shame to. It would be a shame to peak too early.
It would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. You know, we're talking about fortifications earlier. Well, I was.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Well, there's a reason for that. Do you know what is the most heavily fortified region in the world?
The
Guess I have to find it.
American-Mexican border?
No.
Not yet.
Not at all. Thought it was Moscow.
Well, what era are we talking about here, Gary?
Well, we're talking about the entire history.
In the entire history of the world?
In the entire history of the world.
Oh, that would be the Hadrian's Wall then.
Well, Hadrian's Wall is part of it, yeah.
What did the
That
Welsh
counts
border?
towards it.
Mhm.
No, well, people do say it's the Welsh borders, but it isn't. I'm telling it to
Well,
Stephen
right,
Fry
alright.
now. No, it's quite interesting. No,
Well,
it's Northumbria.
All right, yeah.
Because
Right.
if you look at the fact they've got the Roman wall, they've got all the medieval castles, but they also have the Basel houses and peel towers. Collectively, there's more fortifications per square mile in Northumbria than anywhere else.
Border readers, you see.
Yeah. So even if you discount the Great Wall of China, which is a wall, there's nothing else there apart from the Great Wall of China. Whereas Northumbria has, as I say, the peel towers, Basel houses, the Roman wall, Berwick, Alnwick, Warkworth, Kelso, all the border fortifications that are there. So yeah, it is the most heavily fortified region. Because it's fortified over many centuries as well. It's not just like Offa's Dyke or the Roman Wall or the Welsh border castles.
Yeah, but it's very subjective. It's like
Nah, it's not subjective, mate. It's a fact.
it's subjective. You know what isn't fortified? Canada.
I'm sure Quebec has got fortifications.
They do. Built by the
And there was
British.
all those...
And the walls were facing the wrong way. They should have walled them all in.
uh,
That's just my opinion. No, my wife and I went to go see the big fort in Quebec. How many years back? 3, 4 years back? About 4 years ago, 4 summers ago, we went to see the big fort in Quebec. It's pretty impressive.
what's that fort called?
Oh God, I forget the name of it.
Fort Louis? Fort Charles?
No, Louisbourg. is the first fort. That's in what's now Nova Scotia.
Right.
I'll have to Google it. Hang on. I forget what the actual name of it is. Oh, it's called the Citadel.
Uh-huh.
And then when we were in Halifax, there was another fort there that was built by Prince Edward before he became the king. And then there's Fort Henry in Kingston, which was built later against the Americans.
Yeah, I know about Fort Henry.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's an hour and a half drive. Oh, shoot. I forgot to do all the rifle butts. Damn it. Nothing like spraying a model black, then painting it, and then there's other black spots that you missed that you have to go over again.
That is annoying.
Yeah. So how many Dark Age warriors have you got now?
Well, I've got the 8 that I showed you that are painted. I've got these guys here who are, they don't look very Dark Age. They look more like Robin Hood, but the models are essentially free. I just realized my webcam is showing everything in mirror image for some unknown reason, which is why it's throwing me off whenever I'm trying to place things in front of the webcam. I'm moving my hand in the wrong direction. But anyways, so these are English Civil War pikemen, and I've green stuffed the hand here and added, I think that's 2 King's Warhammer Fantasy bows. So I've got 12 of these guys are my levy. And I've got 1 unit of warriors, the warlord, and some Hearthguard. And this weekend, I'm picking up some more. I'm grabbing some more warriors from my buddy Scott, who's got like millions of them. He orders in bulk and makes these trades and stuff like that. So he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I've got probably, a couple hundred of those figures just laying about." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll buy some from you for cheap." So who needs a web store when you've got this guy, right? So I figure it out. Yeah, I really should have done a better job spraying these black. I have to be doing this right now.
Right.
Dave, what are you working on? All I see is the room.
Photoshop. But the desk is covered in 10
You got a beer.
That's good. Oh yeah. But the sun is over the yard. The sun is over the yard.
Nice. There you go. Attaboy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are we doing this on a Tuesday, right?
You need to feel when you watch paint dry.
Okay.
How about you, Steve? What are you doing? So I might have missed it earlier when I was out.
Yeah, I'm just finishing off some American Civil War cavalry or dismounted cavalry.
Oh, you're saying that 10 mil?
Yeah.
So now, do any of you guys, I mean, pardon my ignorance, to me all British accents sound alike. Are any of you guys like part of the same group, or is everybody in a different place in England / Scotland?
Me, Dave, and James. We all go to the same club.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So if I'm ever in England, I know where to go, right?
Yeah. Northeast. Where you need to go.
Hey, as long as it's near Newcastle, right? Right, Gary?
Not really, mate. No. It's the deep south where those guys live.
Yeah.
Appalachians, basically. I think it's called.
Says the rabid Geordie.
Yeah, who lives in bloody Wimbledon? Yeah.
Who lives in bloody Wimbledon? Yeah.
Yeah.
I only know Wimbledon because that's where there's tennis.
Not far from here. Not far from here. Back on the Dark Age theme, which I'm determined to get in tonight. 5 Anglo-Saxon kings were crowned in Kingston, which is just down the road from me, including Athelstan. And Kingston means the King's Stone. It's where they used to crown the Anglo-Saxon kings in the 6th and 7th centuries.
Is the stone actually still there?
Yeah.
It's weird because Fort Henry is near a town here called Kingston.
Mhm.
And for us, it's just like, oh, it's that city on the way to Toronto.
Yeah, well, it's named after Kingston in Surrey.
Oh, that's the thing. Like almost everything in Canada is named after somewhere else. So there's
Yeah.
London, Ontario, Stratford, Ontario,
Mhm.
Kingston.
I believe you also have a Newcastle, don't you?
There's more than one. Yes,
There's more than one. Yeah.
there's a Newcastle, Ontario, and it's known to everyone in Ontario as the place where you stop on the highway to go get like a McDonald's because it's the only thing. It's right on the highway, and it's got the rest stuff. But I'm determined to get to the real Newcastle one day and see a game. Okay, I'm actually doing well here.
Well, if you're going to go, the time to go is when the season's on. Go for a pre-season friendly, because then you'll just get into the game anyway. So you'll get to see
hard to get in.
It will be next. It will be next season.
Well, I know right now it's plenty easy to get in since they're in relegation zone, or in the actual.
Yeah,
relegated.
Sunderland, I think you're talking about there. Newcastle are on the up, mate. They're about to get promoted.
Well, if they're not,
Going to get relegated from.
Yeah, then they'll get relegated. Yeah. Again.
Like Middlesbrough, yeah.
oh, that's true. You guys have a team.
I'll just take my kids up in pre-season so we can see a friendly against some Spanish club or Italian club or Celtic, whoever they are. And you can just walk into the ground, and there's about 40,000 show up for that.
Do they manage to get second division teams to come and play them, Guy?
They do. Second division Italian teams or Spanish, yeah.
Did you hear about the third division Brazilian team that got beat 12-0, and they just, I think it was maybe it's Italian or Brazilian, they just literally ceased to exist afterwards. No, yeah, it was Italian. They were like, yeah, you know what? We were in hard economic times, and now that we got beat 12-0, we're just gonna stop playing. And so, like, but the season wasn't over. They just, that's it. We're done.
That's what Newcastle did last season, was it not?
Well, that's because of the owner.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Dennis.
I don't even follow football.
You just take the piss.
I do, because over here everybody follows. Oh, I love the English Premier League. Manchester. It's like, no. It's like, no.
So why do you have this affinity with Newcastle, Dennis? There's some sort of heritage there?
No, my aunt and uncle used to live near Sleaford, RAF Cranwell. And when we were visiting them from when we lived in Germany, it was the big game on TV. And I was like, I'll follow these guys. And then years later, it's like, oh, yeah, English soccer is real popular. I'm like, hey, I remember watching these guys. And this was back when they were, Shearer was still playing with them, so they were actually good. And now they're just god awful. There, it's funny because in Canada, obviously, we watch hockey here. The local hockey team here may as well be Newcastle. We've got an owner who's stubborn. He gets good players and then immediately sells them, and is always pissing and moaning. The fans hate him. Ours has gone with the one step further than, is it Michael Ashley? Mike Ashley is his name?
Yeah.
Ours, he lives in the Grand Caymans most of the time. He ended up getting some sort of liver disease. He was dying, and he ended up getting a new liver by skipping the line because he was rich. So in Canada, you're supposed to be on the waiting list or whatever. So I think he surreptitiously got one in the Bahamas or somewhere. And then he comes back and he's still in the sauce. It's just like, seriously? And he's always complaining, oh, well, I'll move the team, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, just sell the team to someone who gives a damn. As long as he's not the owner, that would be good.
Yeah, it sounds very familiar, that.
And exactly, that's why I was like, I'm looking at, here you can't get news out of it, so I got to go on like the BBC or whatever. So I'm looking at it, I'm like going, this is exactly, it's like this cut from the same cloth. But I guess go ahead.
Don't you go to nufc.com, which is the fans website?
I went there once and it was like spam city with all sorts of pop-ups, so I just never did. After that, I probably should.
That's run by a couple of mates of mine who I used to go to Newcastle games with.
Well, I'm telling you what, when I come to England, I'll definitely say hi to you guys and we'll go to Newcastle game, given that you're right there.
Most of us are, yeah.
Well, my dad's got a season ticket, which he gives to me whenever I go up there.
Nice.
The last time I went up there, he said, I can't go to today's game. We're playing Chelsea. And I said, you bastard. And
let me guess, you're a Chelsea guy?
No, no. Now, the thing is, I've travelled 300 miles to watch us get absolutely hammered at home.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we beat Chelsea 2-0. So I was quite happy after that one. Because Newcastle always seem to beat Chelsea for some reason, particularly when Mourinho's in charge.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be more interested if you were talking about Blood Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
And
We should get back on
I don't even
topic,
like
really,
Blood Bowl.
I could talk about Warhammer, and I don't even bloody like that either.
When I worked at Games Workshop, there's this kid that came in, and kid was a nice kid, but the way he read things and pronounced things was always good for a laugh. And so like Reign of Chaos, he would pronounce it Region of Chaos because of the G. Tyranid Warriors was Trinidad Warriors. How Devilfish was the Teu Delifish. But the ultimate was when they re-released Blood Bowl, and he asks, "Oh, I've never heard of that game. Blood Bowel." To this day, every single time I hear the word Blood Bowl, I think of this kid going, "What's Blood Bowel?" And of course, a buddy of mine, without missing a beat's like, "Ooh, you got to go to the doctor if you've got Blood Bowel."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trouble with your ceramics.
Yeah. Oh, what were some of the other things he used to say though? Like they were, Teu Delifish. Yeah, Trinidad Warriors was one. It's hilarious. And you had to keep a straight face, right? Because
I've got the guy that works with me just now at work who we've got our civil service is probably like more full of acronyms than any other organisation in the world. And there's a couple.
I work in the aviation business. I bet you I have you beat for acronyms.
Yeah.
I have you beat for acronyms.
Can't beat having too many TLAs.
Anyways, go on.
Yeah, there's a couple that are quite similar but mean totally different things, and we've almost got like a nervous tick thing going on that whenever he says this particular acronym, he always says the wrong one, and I always automatically correct him, like without even missing a beat. He'll be like, "Oh, it's the such and such," and I'll immediately say, like, I think it's FTE and FTA, and he'll be like, "Oh, it's the FTE," and I'm like, "FTA," like straight away, all the time. When in meetings and stuff, I just automatically correct him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he stopped bothering to try and learn what the correct one is because he knows I'll just fix it.
We have one called the NAV Canada Automated Remote Data System, and of course its acronym to be NARDS. Oh, the NARDS is down. We'll get the emails, the flash emails will go out. It'll be like, oh yes. Oh, well, that's certainly a kick to the NARDS. Winding down here. I'm almost at the stage where I can put some ink on these bastards. Actually, I think I am at that stage. Ink, well, wash, well, Army Painter Soft Tone, to be precise. Yeah, just gonna let this dry for a bit. May as well just start on the next floor, I suppose.
Did your pal get his bases?
He did. Yeah, he came by. He's just lives 5-minute bicycle ride down from here. So, whereas everybody else lives an hour and a bit away. Like where I'm playing on Friday is an hour away. So I'm picking this guy up and we're driving down to play some Napoleonics on Friday. So I'll bring my camera. I'll definitely put a video up for that. So I haven't filmed one of those in the dog's age.
It's black powder. Yeah.
Yeah, don't have many of them. It's hard to get the stars aligned to have everybody there and everybody with their armies. But the one guy who's bringing his KGL, this other guy who has his couple battalions painted but never had the bases because he ordered them. And then another guy, he started French, so I won't be the only French guy. And what's funny is we both actually speak French, so I'm tempted to actually just do it all in French for the video and lose it. Get no views.
Foulicon.
Zoot alors.
Zoot alors.
I don't think we ever said Zoot alors back in that day, but Sacre Bleu for sure.
Almost positively a native.
Surely Foulicon.
I was recognized.
That's a good one. Again, they wouldn't have said it back then, but it's apropos now.
Yeah. Schoolboy French learned through watching Hello Hello.
Schoolboy French learning how to swear in French. First thing you learn.
French dictionary, yeah.
Oui, oui, ha ha, le le. There you go, now you speak French. Teal.
I remember reading something that said that the air crash investigators, no matter what language the pilot is, if it's been a pilot error, then the first indication it's a pilot error is the last thing the pilot says is "ah shit" or "merde" or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know about that. That's if they're trying a last-second correction and it isn't working. That's usually what they'll say. Apparently, there's a lot of messages to families in the last couple seconds. But you never hear about it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Look, we don't have very many of those here. So.
Black boxes or crashes?
The latter.
Just have people go missing out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, what's aggravating is my company is actually the second rocket went up last week. satellites that has a little box attached to the satellite where the aircraft will send position data once every 2 seconds. So that getting lost in the middle of nowhere would not have happened if it had happened starting 2019. And so equipped. So
Yeah.
but it's not like the airlines have to add anything to it if they've already got this one position that there's a transmitter that transmits to the ground once every couple seconds.
Right.
There's a reverse ping and it goes up and the satellite picks it up. So it's already been tested. They've already flown. And again, the reason isn't for, finding somebody when they get lost. I mean, that's a happy side effect of it. But what really is the money maker is when they're flying where there's no radar, there's a thing called safe separation. So you want to have your aircraft, X amount of miles. Yeah, with distance in between them in case anything happens. I mean, they're not under radar. So you don't want anything to happen, especially at night, which is where all the traffic going to Europe from here.
Yeah.
That's when it occurs at night. But because of the way the winds are, there's favorable winds, and every airline wants to get in on a favorable wind area, and that changes every day. It's on a first come, first served basis. And right now, I think it's 60 miles. So if there's an aircraft ahead of you at the same altitude, it's 60 nautical miles away, which is pretty far. Because again, it's uncontrolled. But with this system, and this is the real reason we spent all this money on it, and the airlines will want to pay for it, is because you'll be able to probably put it to 15 nautical miles. So you'll be able to cram triple the amount of aircraft in the same, 4 times the amount of aircraft in the same piece of sky. And a happy benefit of, if anything ever happens, you'll know where it is within 1 square kilometer. So that MH70 or whatever, or MH170, they'd know within a 1 square kilometer box, that's where it is.
I feel as if I've dropped into an episode of The Big Bang Theory again.
Well, no, he's talking about black boxes and all, and so I figured. I do so my work knowledge.
As long as you don't get shot down by a Russian anti-aircraft system.
Well, that was again. Everybody was warned to not fly over the Ukraine, and they flew over the Ukraine.
You got to save your fuel costs somehow.
No, well, you know what? A lot of countries will just not have any care in the world when it comes to safety, and some of those countries include like India and basically anywhere in Africa that doesn't begin with the word south in it. So it's very, very lax. We heard there was one airline, I can't remember the name of it. They were flying passengers, I want to say it was out of Algeria. They had to divert because of a sandstorm, so they landed.
Oh dear.
I can't recall the country, but it was in North Africa. So they had to stop and refuel, and they couldn't take off until they paid for the gas. And they're like, well, just charge your company. And then they're like, well, no, you can't leave until the airline pays for the gas. I'm like, well, we'll send you a wire payment tomorrow. They're like, well, that's nice. You have to pay right now. They had to go, no word of a lie, they had to go collect credit cards from the passengers in order to pay the bill. And then they basically declared, we're never coming here ever again. But it was at the point of like AK-74. It's like, you're not leaving until you pay. So there's, to this day, there's countries out there where it's pretty bad.
Mm.
No, I agree with that South thing. I mean, where did the Titanic sail from? Southampton.
And where did it go down?
Go. Yeah.
Canada. There you go.
There you go.
I remember when the movie Titanic came out, and there was the guy, whatever Leonardo DiCaprio's character was named. Well, in Newfoundland, there's a big, huge plaque with all the names of all the people who passed away, because that's where the the 2 ships that were rescuing the survivors and all that were coming to port. And I guess because one of just some boiler crew guy happened to have the same name as Leonardo DiCaprio's character, like just all these girls were bringing like roses and everything. It's just like, it's a character in a movie. Jesus, what the hell's wrong with him?
Is it some of those air bases up there that got absolutely swamped with aircraft following 9/11, didn't they? They
Yes,
closed airspace.
I didn't work where I work now. Apparently it was obviously their busiest day, where air traffic went, all of North America had to land here. And every single flight coming inbound had to also land here.
Yeah, I think I remember thinking about that. The hell was that? People having to stay in like strangers' houses and stuff because there was just no accommodation for them.
Yeah, little towns like in the middle of nowhere. There was one. There used to be an Air Force base, which is why they were able to line up all the 747s along where the bombers used to be back in the 50s and 60s. But they just line them up there, and they're like, "There's nowhere to, house them." And so it's like, every house takes 2. We're good. And that's what they did. I need Army Strong. At the inking stage, but I want to get the right one that I used on the first 4. And unfortunately for me, because I did it months ago, I forget. I think it was this one. My last Games Workshop paint, Track and Shade.
I do have some Ultramarines paints.
I still want to see somebody do a Team Yankee Army with those M113s, all done as like Ultramarines. I really want to see that.
I finished painting a load of 3mm ones. In the process of painting them, discovered that they were out of scale and that the company, I think it's Osme, had changed the M113 models a while ago, and for some reason I had got the old ones.
Yeah.
So I ended up buying a load of the new ones just so as they actually look sensible, because otherwise they looked.
So you're doing Team Yankee in 3mm?
Yes.
Wow. I know down in Historicon this year there's a Team Yankee Nationals being done by Mitch Reed. And then this other guy who was always hardcore about, no, man, you got to do a 6mm. He's putting on, I think at the same time, a 6mm Cold War Team Yankee tournament. It's like, yeah, way to just kill the vibe, buddy.
Yeah. I've got 6mm stuff as well, but...
Well, 6mm is close to 1/285, right?
Yeah.
Decision scale? Yeah.
Yeah. But the 3mm stuff was just because I liked the look of it. And then I got them and I did jazz hands because they're so cool. They're so dinky. I was like, it's the first E moment I've had in ages doing wargaming. Yeah. When you get a model and you're just like, ee! So.
Do you have pictures?
I will do, yeah.
Also, when you were away, we came up with a good name for this segment.
Okay.
Watching paint dry. Because it's like watching paint dry.
Where is this cemetery in Newfoundland, is it? For the Titanic?
I don't think it's a cemetery. I think it's just literally the easternmost part, and I think it's where all the ships came in with the survivors /
Yeah,
it's got a list of the people who died.
Yeah, and a big metal plaque or something like that. And I remember reading, it was on the news. It was like, oh, and people are bringing to somebody Dawson, and just because he had the same name as Leonardo, fictional character.
Yeah.
This boiler room guy just happened to have the same name, so everybody's like, "Oh, it's so tragic."
You actually made it to one of the lifeboats, didn't you, Gary?
Hey, what?
Oh, jeez.
I said you actually made it to one of the lifeboats.
No, but me,
Oh, yeah, Gary.
one of my ancestors didn't make it to the lifeboat, which is why I'm quite intrigued by this, because my dad would be interested in that. See if
Right,
the
well,
name is on there.
Let me Google that again. Get everything else then while you're at it.
Now I'm looking for a bloke called Thomas Davison, and he married a woman called Mary Fink, who was American, and they were going to see her parents, and she survived and he didn't.
Maybe it was in Nova Scotia. Maybe I got it wrong.
Yeah. That would make sense, I suppose.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
They were, yeah. Most of them were of the recovered ones were buried in Nova Scotia. Yeah. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
there's an
It
actual.
was I think it was a hoodoo program or something.
But you know what? At the time, Newfoundland still belonged to England, so
Wasn't part of Canada.
no. 1949 is when it became part of Canada. Bastards.
I'd be intrigued if there was a mention or even a grave for this ancestor of mine. That would be very interesting to add for a
There
start.
must be a list.
How many of the bodies
It says-
actually?
It says here a simple headstone of black granite marks most graves, recording only the victim's name if known, or the number of the body if the name was not known, and the date 15 April 1912.
Mm.
Exceptions were made if friends or relatives wanted to erect a more elaborate headstone at their own expense. One
Yeah.
such example is that of the chief steward, and it was donated by Bruce's mayor.
Uh-huh.
And White Star Line still maintains them. Maybe there's a list.
Good. No, me and James were talking about this the other night about the sister ship, the Olympic. And in Alnwick in Northumberland, they've got the staircase, which is the same staircase that go down in the Titanic. And it's not exactly the same, obviously, because the other one's on the bottom of the ocean. But
Now, is that the one that got torpedoed in
Gallipoli?
Yeah,
Was it
Gallipoli.
the
Or is it the other
Olympic?
sister ships? I know there's three.
The Olympic and the Britannic, wasn't there?
Yeah.
See, I was under the impression they all got sunk during the various world wars, but Gary said they weren't. So.
The Olympic was scrapped on the Tyneside docks, which is why the staircase is there. So they must have got that one
In a
back.
hospital ship.
No, it was the Britannic was the one that was sunk in Gallipoli.
Yeah.
And back then, it had the crazy Dazzle paint scheme, so that the German torpedo or German U-boats couldn't calculate the range. Everybody's always like, "Well, that's really bad camouflage." It's like, well, no, you can't camouflage a ship of that nature, but you can spoof the size and which way it's heading, and you paint fake waves on it so they don't know what the speed is and all that.
Yeah. I was quite
Great
like
for playing World of Warships.
the Dazzle stuff. Never does me any good in World of Warships, right enough, but
Oh, it just gives you a couple stuff. I love World of Warships. It's so much fun. It's free, so why the hell not?
yeah. I play it occasionally.
You don't still play Eve, do you?
Occasionally.
No.
Not so much play it as log in, sigh, and log out again.
Yep. You pay for the privilege.
No, it's free to play now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, up to a point, and you can have you can log in, but basically you have like there's two different clone states. You've got an alpha and an omega clone, and if you're a subscription player, you can train all the skills, whereas if you're the non-subscription player, you can only train the
Well, that's good.
low-level ones.
That's good. No, I'm playing some DCS World as for my flight sims. Lately, free game. You just buy the modules of the planes you want. There's a couple free planes. It's fun. And actually, Elite Dangerous, which is the space game I'm playing now. I guess the patch just went through today, so I'll have to download that. Or I'll have to patch up tonight. But it's where I can have friends of mine be man and a ship fighter off of my ship, or man the turrets.
That's cool.
Ooh.
I've always fancied doing World War II
I have
naval
chips.
gaming. But
I have
never.
chips, but in England they're called crisps. Delicious. Thank you.
I've always fancied doing World War II naval gaming, but never.
Oh, I almost pulled the trigger on a. There's a system called Sea Krieg, and I almost got some ships for super cheap at Cold Wars, and then actually this guy Mitch Reed, the guy who's putting on Team Yankee Nationals. He's like, no, don't get that rule set. It's like you'll spend 5 hours and your ships will have moved 1 nautical mile. I'm like, okay, I hate those, like that style, super mega detailed. So I didn't, but the models looked really, really cool. And again, playing lots of World of Warships.
Yeah.
I want to paint them.
I occasionally play a game called One Pacific,
Oh,
which
yeah?
is a turn-based strategy game, and it's the entire Pacific War.
Is this the one that's you play multiplayer and it's like almost like the old email?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah.
Okay, no, some guys up at the army base that we play some rare tournaments at. There's a guy who's like, "Oh no, Dennis, you'd love this." And I'm looking at him like, "Yeah, I probably would have liked that in 1997." When I'd log into AOL.
I played the wall game in about 1984.
Yeah.
Which one?
Okay. One Pacific.
Yeah, Warren Pacific.
Gary Grimsby, I think's the.
Oh.
I used to love Silent Service and those types of games for the old Commodore 64 back in the day.
Like that 40 nautical mile hexes, and it's from the west coast of India all the way across to the west coast of America.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Panama Canal and everything in between.
Yeah.
And every ship, aircraft squadron, and ground units represented.
That's pretty
Well,
cool.
it's a mega game.
Yeah. Then you spend the first couple 100 tons as the Allies just getting your ass kicked.
Yeah. Basically.
Maybe that's one.
Is that before you get Sonar, Nastic, and Hedgehog?
No, just generally because you start with Buffaloes and Hudsons
You
and
also need the high-fi camera when you're showing the little details like the HD.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm eating my crisps while I'm watching paint dry, literally.
you've made quite a substantial amount of progress on them just in one night, though.
Yeah, if I showed more discipline, I could probably do 4 a night, and that would mean that I'll have just enough to do for Friday morning, but I won't have the discipline to do it, so I'll just use the rest of them. Actually, no, we're playing Friday morning, so no, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd have to do 8 in one night.
How many are in the unit? Humour me because my maths is appalling.
Sorry, I've got 4 done. This is another 4. The unit is 24 strong.
Right.
However, one of the snags is going to be I have to basically take the head off of this snazzy Prussian guy Or maybe I'll just use them as is. So what's weird is the Bodners their officers had the sideways bicorns when they first got to the peninsula, and then later on just got their regular French officers' headgear. But of course, I want them. I don't want them. I don't want them to look French. I want them to look as foreign as possible. So I'm going to go with the bicorn heads, and I was able to get that model that I just showed you painted like that for $1.
Oh, I remember you
So,
saying.
yeah. And it's too bad you didn't have like enough to do an army, because I mean, at $1 a figure, I mean that was a steal. He was just trying to get rid of them. But my command stand will take me longer than these 4 guys did, because then I've also got to put the flag in and musician, and there's the engineers there too, and I got to put the little pennant on his halberd. So I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Do you just give your command guys more time anyway, or do you just treat them paint-wise the same way as the rest?
I'd like to paint them, put a bit more effort, but the models are so vastly different. You probably won't be able to tell, but I'll put them up anyways. So there's the sapper, or the engineer with the halberd. He's going to have a little pennant on there. This is the actual flag bearer. So I have to bend this arm and then drill through everything. Because the flag's got to be more vertical. At least the musician's fine, but I mean, those drums are always, lots of small little triangles in there. So it's just a couple extra details, but I mean, I'll take my time on them.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily, if I just paint over where the purple is here, I mean, he's already got. He's well painted. I know it's hard to see there. Like a good contrast. This is about how I would paint mine, anyways, too. But yeah, this guy could get done probably in 10 minutes, really. But it's the rest of them. I don't. You know what? I don't know. Maybe I will go for it. I mean, for me, it's only 6:15 tonight. I wasn't planning on doing just this tonight, but maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll try and push and get the unit done. Maybe I'll call in sick tomorrow. I don't know. I should.
That's so
actually.
British. I'm
And
off
on
tomorrow
Q,
anyway.
on Q, there's Stig with his fake cough.
Yeah.
Defending the nation. Oh, I don't know, mate.
Stig, did you paint that model as your picture?
I did, yeah. Yeah.
That is fantastic stuff.
Oh, right, yeah, thanks. Thanks.
That's
Take that
20
while
mil
ago.
scale, I would imagine.
15, that. 15 mil.
That's
He has
15
sold his son
millimeter?
to the devil.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Yeah. No.
Sickening,
Wow.
isn't it?
It's Legio.
Sold his soul.
Well, now that I know that, I think I'll just take these models here and smash them and give up.
Yeah.
I'll be
giving
right
up
back, guys. I gotta.
Okay.
Don't want to start painting my models with crisp grease on my fingers.
now. The sign of a professional, that really, isn't it?
Crisp grease.
Yeah.
Certainly makes them
Not
taste
painting
better.
without- Yeah. It's a wrap, lovies.
I've just been hand painting a flag and spend a lot of time holding my breath with a tiny brush, so I haven't been talking a lot.
Which flag? A green one, by any chance?
No, it's a little cavalry standard.
All right.
So it's red and white, and I just try to paint the US and a little A underneath, Grey Squadron or whatever. On it.
Look at you guys painting Americans.
I know, mate, shocking.
It's a troop, isn't it, Steve? A troop?
A troop.
Troop of cavalry?
Yeah.
And you get squadrons of cavalry as well.
Yeah.
It depends where they're from.
The
I
troops
think
the
a
base
troop-
level.
Troop's about 30, isn't it?
Oh, a
A
troop's
troop
like
is-
a platoon.
Yeah, troops of platoon, isn't it?
And a
Squadrons.
squadron's like a company.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's. Oh, I don't know. I just made it up.
You've made it up.
Yeah, it's okay. Only Americans make shit up.
That's true.
I'll be back in a minute. I'll find some beer from somewhere.
Bastards. That's what I should have thought of.
So I need to find an alternative source of 15mm pipers for my
Pipers?
Yeah, more bagpipers. I know you get the desert one that's in a kilt, but
Do you need light mortars and Piats and ATRs? Because I have a million British ones spare. 15.
generally I'll refuse nothing but blows. That's my motto. But to be honest,
The thing is, but shipping to you is going to be murder. So in this case,
Yeah.
if you need them, then I'll send them.
I don't. I really
If
don't.
it's just for random, like if it was just throwing them a couple pounds in the post, I'd do it. But
Yeah, no, you're cool. It's one of these things that when I started collecting, using the stuff I was collecting at that time, it was like everything came with Piat teams, and then they changed the armies so they didn't. So I
Yep.
thought,
yep,
the buggers.
the anti-tank rifles, even for the on the Battlefront website now, they've got the German Panzerbukes 41 as a special order because you can't get them anywhere. It's like, well, you really need them, and they're not an option. Like you have to, they're integral. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, at least make the model available. So they finally did.
Yeah, well, the Piper's kind of the same, that you're pretty limited, and there was a Desert 8th Army Command pack that had.
Yep, I've got them. In fact, I think I got two because I've got one in one of my artillery stands, and I got one in my 2IC as a.
Yeah, I've got two. I think I've got one in a kilt and one in battle dress. I think the one in the battle dress comes from the commando platoon, but I'm not sure.
Wasn't there British Expeditionary Force ones too?
Possibly. They'll have the early style stuff on though, I think.
Yeah. My friend Rob, he did an early war British Army, and he's got kilts on all of them. Can't remember what brand of models he was using, but
Probably Forged in Battle, because I think they did early war kilt wearing. Just because I'm doing potentially multiple companies, so I'm going to need multiple
yeah.
peppers. And I don't want to buy the commando platoon if it's not in the commando platoon. And it's not
Well, if I had any
mentioned.
spare, I'd give it to you, but I don't, unfortunately.
Nah, it's cool. It's not mentioned as being in the commando platoon, but I'm sure the basic level commando platoon has the Lord Lovett character and Piper Millen. And the commandos, because they've got berets, I could just put a Highland Division, what do you call them, cockade on them, and use them as
Use them as 51st, I think.
Yeah, we'll just use them as unhelmeted jocks, or even as poles, because I think the poles wore berets rather than helmets sometimes.
Yep.
Oh, no idea what the Polish were.
Although I think
Probably-
their berries were a funny shape.
They probably got what they were given.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have these 1913 style berets. Oh, dziękuję, thank you very much.
As long as they got to kill Germans, I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't think they cared.
Now get the hell up to Monte Cassino.
And my free French were the same way. It was all old mid-war stuff in the late war list, so it plays horribly.
A bit of character, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It's like, hey, why didn't you pay the extra points for those bazookas? I can't. What do you mean you can't? I can't. I would have. Oh, what? Why do you have really old, Shermans and no upgunned Wolverines? I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
Although my Wolverines are crewed by French Navy gunners, so just couldn't deal with that.
Is that a historical actuality?
Yeah. So when France had to surrender all their ships, the crew that still wanted to fight, because I mean, these guys were the list I was using is, I think there's the PDF is the 2nd Division Blindée, which just means armored division, and so it's basically an armored rifle company. And the PDF doesn't allow them to use a bunch of the American rules like, excellent communications and all that, but they do get the old French doctrine of shooting over guys that shot in trenches. They did get time on target, but historically, right, the French Navy guys were like, well, we'll crew the M10s. So they had these funny blue berets with giant red pom-poms. So my M10 crew, I put British beret. I think they were from British priests or something. Just spare crew, and I had to use tiny little balls of green stuff and make the.
That's cool. I like stuff like that.
And you know what? And if my army case is at hand, I'd open it up and show you, but it's not in a good spot right now.
That's cool. I had a whole issue with M10s that says more about my mental state of mind than anything.
The French didn't hand over their fleet, though, did they? At Oran, Churchill sunk them.
Well, he let everybody get off. Yeah, he didn't trust them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got sunk.
Which is a bit, I don't know. Obviously, the French politics of the period's quite convoluted, but...
Well, I mean,
You
the
can-
actual government, the Vichy French just went with the Germans. That's
Yeah.
just what they did, right?
But the fleet was told basically you can surrender to us or we'll sink you. weren't they?
Yeah. Or the Germans would have used it. Anyway, I'm
they
off
for
ski.
sure would have used it.
Yeah, they would have done. Because the British had the bigger fleet, didn't they? So, so that's why it was important. Anyway, I shall see you guys later on, and
Yep, catch you later,
Take it
Gary.
easy.
good chat.
Hey, before you go, Gary,
Okay.
check it out.
Yeah.
They're done.
Aha.
Very nice.
Oh, almost done. There was a gray dry brush I got to do real quick, but yeah, they're pretty much done.
Yeah, and I'll put some pictures up of these light dragoons hussars that I've just finished as well,
Yeah, for sure.
which should be finished tomorrow. I'm off for 7 days from work, so I'll have plenty of time.
How much are you going to paint?
As much as I can. I've got a dentist tomorrow in the morning, which is I'm going to bed now. So, but yeah, I should get a game this holiday as well. I'll finally do my English Civil War battle that I've been promising myself for weeks now.
Oh, who's your opponent going to be and what army are they going to play?
My son's going to be taking the royalist side, I think.
Yeah, after playing that Battle of Edge Hill there, I don't know if you saw my post up on our site, but Gary, I posted the video and the pictures of that battle I was telling you about when we were at Cold Wars.
Oh, I'll have a look. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been watching your Peninsula War stuff.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we get enough guys with enough stuff in to do it justice. It should be. It's still kind of up in the air because it is a holiday.
I watched the one where you bought the roads and the roads were all unraveling on the table.
Yes, and that's the first and only time we've ever used those roads. We got rid of those roads. That was just something that we thought might work, and it just didn't at all.
Mm.
But you know what? All right, take care, Gary.
Yeah, I'll see you later, guys.
Good night.
See ya.
Yeah, I just gotta dry brush these combs. I guess they were called combs.
That's it. All done.
You're done?
Oh, I've got
That's
one
a lot of walls. That's a lot
little
of
tiny
walls.
thing to do. Yeah, it's fencing as well.
That's insane. But you know what? You can use it for lots of different systems, right? You can use it for any 15 mil or anything.
Yeah.
So at least there's that. I mean, heck, you could probably use it for 10 millimeter, some of it. The walls, especially.
Yeah. I now need to think where I'm going to put them. I've got all these nice little spare damaged bits which I'll do when I come to do the runes for the streets and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a war memorial.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it Vimy Ridge? Oh, wait.
No, it's just labelled a 15mm town statue. I got it cheap, so I was tempted
Just take a 28 millimeter model and paint it all gray with some pigeon shit on top, and then there's your statue.
I was tempted by the lack of instructions. Not tempted by the lack of instructions, just perplexed by the lack of the instructions. Tempted by the battlefield in a box, town squares and stuff, but
Yeah. I don't have any room for any of that stuff. That's why I'm not bothering. Now I'm done. Well, now it's time to do the command. That's not bad. We'll get them started. No big deal.
Aha.
What is it, 10:30 for you guys?
11:30.
Oof. That's harsh, guys. That's harsh.
I'm bad last night. I was sitting trying to finish off my last house, and Steve had commented, "Are you not working tomorrow?" And
you had the day off.
it was much later than I thought it was.
About 1 o'clock, wasn't it? Crazy time.
You guys are all in the same time zone, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I think it's only us freaks in Canada that have 5-6 time zones. I inadvertently called a guy today for work who had a LA phone number. So I waited, right, for the 3 hours, so I wouldn't call him at 6 in the morning. He had his cell phone on, but he was in Singapore. So he's like, hello. Whoops. But still doesn't top the time I accidentally emailed the Crown Prince of Qatar.
Oops.
Well, he flew a private aircraft, and he flew it himself, and on the flight plan it said operator Mohammed Al Thani, and I'm like, okay. I look up the aircraft and there's an email. Mohammed@altani.com or whatever the hell. So I'm like, good day, Mohammed. Blah, 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 blah. Aircraft. We just need to know where it goes. Yada, yada, yada. And a couple weeks later, I get on really fancy letterhead. Oh, His Royal, oh no, what was it? His Celestial Royal Highness Mohammed bin, like, and he had like this huge long name. His Royal Highness, blah 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 blah. You know, regrets to inform you that he can't attend to this person. Like, it was like a super flourishy handwriting, and I'm like, wow, whoops. So it's the equivalent of saying, "Dear Elizabeth." Yeah. But hey, ma'am, next time don't have your personal email on a flight plan.
I've managed to avoid any slip-ups like that, although I did once make a smart remark to the Secretary of State for the United Kingdom at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you know it was the Secretary of State at the time?
No.
Oh, okay.
But basically,
that's at least better.
Yeah, the head of my organisation. The first and last time I was allowed to go to anything interesting on my own for some reason.
I'm sure it's just a coincidence, James.
Yeah, I'm positive. I'm sure there's not a big black mark on my record.
Where it says travel, question mark, there's a big X by your name.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to go to London.
How far is London from Middlesbrough anyway?
Too close.
It's 250 miles.
Far too close, isn't it?
God, that's an eternity for you European guys.
250 miles too close.
Yeah, but isn't London like 60 miles across now?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I can't stop eating these chips.
They just keep making it into a bigger and bigger target.
Look at you all clean and tidy.
I'm just moving the pile of stuff from one part of my desk to the other.
The houses with the blue, well, in your camera, it looks like they're like pale blue roofs. Are those painted or just that's the angle?
These ones. They come pre-painted or pre-coloured.
Oh, okay. Because I think you had some last time that weren't like that.
Yeah, I had 3 that needed painting, which I had done.
They're the ones that are together, right?
They're up on a different shelf now. I was just moving them off the keyboard because I need to try and see how I'm supposed to build this memorial thing. Because there was no instructions.
That's what Google's for. The Googles.
I think there might actually be a couple of different options.
Today's Tuesday, right? If I can paint 4 more today, and then 4 Wednesday and 4 Thursday, I could actually get the unit borders done.
Definitely. Go to it. What you need is an action montage of you painting them and like Rocky theme music.
No. I've been vetoed. I'm not painting. Her Royal Highness has spoken.
Like, could do a video with the music playing and stuff. Got the eye of the tiger.
Actually, you say that. On my way to Historicon, I will be in Philadelphia, where the statue is at the top of the stairs, at the top of the steps. Yeah. But you know what I really want to do, actually, is I want to paint up all the vehicles that I have that are in the Canadian War Museum, and then somehow sneak them in with me and take like Inception-style pictures of, I'd have to borrow my friend Rob's land mattress, but like have, the land mattress sitting on top of the actual land mattress and then zoom the camera out.
I actually...
I don't have any... Go ahead.
I had a thought about when I'm down at the Bovington and
you're lucky bad. You guys are lucky bad.
Taking my tiger model down to get a picture in the tiger.
I don't think there's any tigers in Canada. We have, I think, the only Panzer. What is it? We have a damaged Stug here. We have a T-72. We have like 3 or 4 different Shermans, whatever. There's a Canadian Chaffee, which I so wish they had in World War II, not just Korea, because that'd be amazing. What's this? Canadian Chaffies. That'd be awesome.
You had the Ram.
Oh yeah, we have a Panzer II. We've got, the crappy little, in Flames of War, the crappy little Italian machine gun tankettes that are like slow moving but have 5 machine gun dice per. We have one of those. That's the only one in North America at our museum, so I need to bring one of everything and take pictures of that. It'd be kind of neat.
That'd be quite a cool article.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd end up on the cover page of Flames of War website with something like that.
Yeah, my friend Rob is really keen on always, like, he enters all the little contests and he usually wins like the Bratwurst wagon. There was a Canadian one. So he's like, "Oh, I've got to make 9 or grub, Dennis. How do you suggest that I win the tournament, Dennis?" And I'm like, or win the contest. And I'm like, well, he was showing me some pictures. I'm like, no, they got to be more action oriented than that.
Oh yeah, I saw that painting contest that they did.
Yeah. So his were unsurprisingly Canadian M109s painted. He took the picture of them in front of Parliament Hill, where they had Canadian 109s parked there for Canada Day last year. So he did the Inception style thing, and that's how he got his. And he's already painted his up to be the Canadian Army one. I can't remember what blue I used as a base coat. Great. Shoot.
I keep getting told that I should have a painting list because I'd do the same thing.
Yeah. My buddy Marty, he has I think it's from his girlfriend, a whole bunch of little recipe cards. He just stole 15 of them. And he'll have little recipe cards, and he'll keep them at the bottom of his painting bin. So he'll be like, gee, it's been 3 years since I painted Blood Angels. I wonder what colors I used. And he whips them out. All right, yeah.
It does make sense.
It does. But for me, it requires way too much, what's that word?
Planning. Yeah.
Planning and preparation. Exactly. I need a new palette to my palettes.
Yeah, I'm much the same. I would finish a batch of models and then remember, I meant to write down what I did. What did I do? I can't remember.
Well, for me, it was the worst. With my first Flames of War army, I had all these Games Workshop paints kicking around, right? So I was like, oh, this is great. I don't have to buy any paints except for like a couple of colors, blah, 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 paint my army. And everything was fine. Until Games Workshop didn't make those paints anymore. So then I'm trying to match, the color I used for this was Games Workshop this, and then I was like, okay, now I got to start buying Vallejos, but then they looked different. It was a gong show. It was just an absolute gong show. So since then, that's why I was like, you know what, I'm sick and tired of, and even, Battlefront just did it with it. They did their own paints, which I'm like, whatever, I'm still using Vallejos, so I'm not going with their stupid paints.
Yeah, I'm sticking to Vallejos as well. I did get some other paints for my 6mm Russians. But...
Oh, for Team Yankee or Cold War or whatever?
Yeah, it was just, I'm sure I could have found what the Vallejo version was, but...
Right.
It's one of these things you just can't do anything about, I suppose, if they change the paint.
Well, that's what I like that Vallejo isn't affiliated with anybody, so you know what I mean? I'm good with these colors.
Yeah, you can rely on that a bit more.
You're right, theoretically, because, well, I'll show you if I still have it. Russian Vallejo green, they don't make anymore, but the same exact, you know how they've got little 3-digit codes, number codes?
Yeah.
Same exact number they still make, and it's called something else, and they're different.
All right.
Like only slightly different, but they are actually different. Well, that sucks, because when I built my Team Yankee Russians, I was using the old paint. So
it's not the Russian uniform, is it? Because I've got like so much of that. Like,
I hope it isn't. No, Rush. It's 984.
No.
Russian greens. So I've got almost none. Like it's a fairly bright green. So it would have been. So this is the color you're supposed to. This would be the highlight color for your Soviet tanks.
Right.
Now the exact. For comparison, I should show. So of course I went to the local shop. Was like, I need Russian green. I hunt over there, don't find it. Later on, I went down and wrote down the numbers. And so here's the new 894, which is now called Camouflage Olive Green. It's close, but it's not as dark. Like you can see the difference even with this lighting. Like you can see that that's way lighter than this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, great. But you know what? I put a wash on it, so.
Yeah, it's 902. 709024 or something I use, or 924.
Well, Russian uniform's that brown, right?
It's like a
Am I thinking about the right color?
green color.
Okay, then no, that's. Okay. I was thinking whatever brown uniform they have for Team Yankee, I found Flat Earth was perfect. So I'll just use Flat Earth.
That's probably the #1 color I go through because I use it for my basing.
Yeah. It's like the old Chaos Black of Flames of War. No, fancy officer jackets. Yay. Well, at least this time I didn't use up all my mobile data.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned a hell of a lot about Photoshop tonight. I didn't know.
Photoshop? Yeah.
Yeah. I've been creating an enormous montage, so it's done pretty well.
You got to YouTube the.
Yes, I've been.
the South Park montage song. You know which one I'm talking about?
Oh yes.
Even Rocky had a montage.
Yes, it's been a good learning exercise tonight. I've quite enjoyed that. So.
Do you actually have the Photoshop Pro or whatever the paid version is called these days?
Yeah, I've got a Photoshop Elements. Got a couple of different lots of those. It's enough for what I need. So.
Nice.
But got it all done, so I'm gonna load it up to some supplier tomorrow and get it ordered. So
I'm thinking of upgrading my video editor because I want to do a bit more on the video.
yeah, I got myself a MacBook just before Christmas, so that seems to cope pretty well with the video stuff. So and
yeah, my brother uses one for his. He does teaching videos, so he's like, yeah, it's perfect for that. I can't remember the programs he uses because I don't do Macs, but
yeah, I was struggling a bit with the old laptop, so got this one. So cool. I think that'll do me for tonight, gents. So
well, it's nice seeing you. Nice meeting you.
Catch you later, chaps.
Take care, Dave.
See you later.
See you later, Dave.
I think 10 to 12 because I'll be heading shortly as well, so we'll just end at this point, but I'll stay on until 9:30.
Midnight. Sounds good.
Cool.
It was fun as always. I got a lot done.
Yep, I did as well. My fingers are black with soot.
With that MDF soot.
Yeah. Yep, that's one of the things I would say if anybody's making the buildings is to wash your hands frequently because PVA and sooty fingers just doesn't.
Otherwise, they'll get like the old coal miners used to get black lung. You'll get the MDF lung.
Yeah. Well, it's more you spend a lot of money on the kits and then you end up bloody putting big black fingerprints all over them because your fingers are all sooty.
I wonder, and that's just like a powder, so it's not like it can really easily be how would you actually wash that off efficiently? Like just the water?
Yeah.
Just seems to work that well.
Water and soap. And be very, very careful that you don't just wipe your hands on the towel.
Well, because I'm thinking the water, wouldn't it get into the MDF and pre-soak it?
Oh, no, you mean on the models? Nah, but I'll probably just end up overpainting them. Where I've made a real
Even
mess.
with the dust sitting there, okay.
Yeah,
sure.
well, it's mixed with PVA, so it's not shifting.
Oh, okay.
And then,
So
of course,
turned it into a concrete then.
Yeah, you go, crap, I've made a mess of that, and try and wipe it off, and that just smears it and makes it worse.
Lovely.
Right, okay. With that, the last of Matt's naps floating in front of the camera.
Yep.